Smart money is now positioned in the biggest long positions since the tariffs crash, and that is what we need to discuss within today's update video, because this is a massive signal for Bitcoin and crypto, and this is indeed going to be a very important update video. We will discuss a lot more than only this, like all of the most important Bitcoin charts and price data, and of course I will give a big update on my trading positions here. So from there guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel, watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Since smart money is now positioned in the biggest long positions since the tariffs crash, and that is of course quite insane. The Bitfinex longs are now rising to the biggest levels since this tariffs crash here. And what we usually do see with the Bitfinex longs does get quite obvious when we overlay this indicator with the Bitcoin chart. If we overlay it, we can see that the Bitfinex longs usually build up in a phase where Bitcoin is consolidating or just coming down. And once Bitcoin is going to move aggressively higher, that's going to be the phase where the Bitfinex longs are going to turn more into short positions. Bitfinex longs are going to get closed here. That means that smart money is going to take profits in the major move higher. But now smart money is still increasing the long positions on Bitcoin here, and once this is going to turn around, it is probably going to mean that Bitcoin is in a major bounce back up to the top side. So this is indeed looking very interesting for Bitcoin, and it seems like we might even get this indicator higher than during the tariffs, which was of course a major bottom event for Bitcoin, and we are already much higher than this major crash in 2024. So very interesting data for Bitcoin here, and it aligns with the other data we have been talking about in some of the update videos lately. Since the RSI also shows us that Bitcoin is clearly quite oversold at the current moment. We are at the most oversold levels on the RSI indicator since the bear market bottom in 2022, since COVID, and since the 2018 bear market bottom. So it is indeed looking very different than what we have seen before, and it seems like Bitcoin is very oversold, and that is why smart money is now going maximum long, expecting another bounce back up to the top side, which I think could most definitely happen here. The big question is going to be, is this going to be a major move towards new all-time highs again, or is this somewhat of a relief rally? Because Bitcoin broke below the 50 weekly moving average, and it most definitely looks like Bitcoin history is just exactly repeating according to the 4-year cycle, because every single time in Q4 during the post-halving years we break below the 50 weekly moving average, we enter a new bear market, and exactly that is happening again for Bitcoin. So their history is exactly repeating. So is this going to be another relief rally? Because usually when we break below it during the post-halving year, below the 50 weekly moving average in Q4, we do see somewhat of a relief rally back towards the 50 weekly moving average, which you could describe as somewhat of a dead cat bounce back to the top side. If Bitcoin could be breaking that 50 weekly moving average from there and making new all-time highs, of course, then we can most definitely say that the 4-year cycle is broken. But for now, I don't necessarily think that this is going to be the case, but because now all of the indicators do show us that Bitcoin is trading in bear market territory. So we should be realistic, we should be looking into the data, and this is what the data is clearly telling us now for Bitcoin. But like stated, on the short term we are looking very oversold, so I think that the relief rally could be getting very close for Bitcoin. This could be somewhat of a great starting point to initiate somewhat of this, and maybe this already started because Bitcoin already bounced back from 80k to 86k now on Sunday. And the market is still trading in extreme fear here, which is of course going to be a good opportunity, but I think the most important indicator for Bitcoin now is probably going to be the Coinbase Premium Index, because lately we've seen all the biggest Bitcoin corrections during these US sell-offs, which you can see on the Coinbase Premium indicators. US entities have been selling Bitcoin aggressively over the last few weeks, and every single time when they do so, we do see the biggest drawdowns for Bitcoin in this entire move to the downside. Now, something which is looking very bullish is that the Coinbase Premium is coming back up ever so slightly. Of course, we're also trading in the weekend, so we don't have those major ETF outflows, but this is indeed looking very good. And if we can see this trend continue, so the Coinbase Premium maybe even flipping positive again, I think that's going to be the moment where Bitcoin can be initiating quite a big bounce back to the top side. And I think this is also going to happen sooner or later, because the IBIT ETF, so the biggest Bitcoin ETF out there, where we also see the biggest outflows from now, which is basically resulting in a lot of selling pressure for the Bitcoin price action, is now on these crazy oversold levels on the RSI. We've never been this oversold for the IBIT Bitcoin ETF. So I think also here we have a bottom getting quite close, and also we are facing some interesting support levels for that IBIT ETF now. So we definitely have a very interesting week ahead of us, and I will be keeping my eyes on those ETF inflows, because once that's going to cool down a bit and once the Coinbase Premium can be moving back up higher, I think that is going to give us clear momentum in the market, and we can be moving higher also for the Bitcoin price action here. We also have this interesting level, which is the Bitcoin US ETF realized price, so basically the average purchase price of the Bitcoin ETFs, and that could also be a very interesting level for Bitcoin, which we already did almost retest. It's about the 80k level, so that could be quite the interesting support level where we also bounce from here back in 2024. So very interesting data in my opinion. And then let's discuss the most important news hitting the market lately, because what we saw recently, and that's also a big reason why Bitcoin is bouncing back up ever so slightly, is that the rate cut odds for December have increased to about 75%. And the biggest reason of this is because the Fed is now seeing room for another near-term rate cut. Most of the officials do want another rate cut now in December, and that is why the rate cut odds are now ever so slightly higher. I must say this could change quite quickly, because for example this bounce back up also happened from 27% now back to 75% in just a matter of hours. So we can most definitely be expecting some volatility up until December the 10th, when that's the moment of the next FOMC meeting, because this can change very quickly, those rate cut odds for December also, because we will see more speeches, more data coming out, and much more, which could be influencing these odds. Potential data that could be doing so is the next week's PPI data, the initial jobless claims, and the PCE price data. So some important inflation data, and also more data of the US labor market and the state of the US labor market. Then the stock market will be closed on Thursday, and an early stock market close on Friday, thanks to Thanksgiving. And now I do want to give a big update on my trading positions, because of course on Weex I don't have any trades open now because we got stopped on the Bitcoin trading positions, and maybe we'll be looking into opening some new trades in the near future, but for now I'm still observing the markets here. For our Ethereum trade on Lbank, we are still in this trade. Our last limit order got filled at the 2.8k level, and now we have an average entry of about 3k. I still think if Bitcoin is going to initiate this relief rally I was talking about earlier in the update video, Ethereum could be seeing quite a big move also back to the top side, and then we can still be making quite a good profit on our Ethereum trading position. And if you do want to join me on my Ethereum trading position, make sure to come over to Lbank, because here you can claim Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of other different and smaller altcoin pairs based on the Ethereum thesis. Make sure to come over now to the description under this update video, because there you can now still claim an amazing bonus on Lbank. I will exactly show you which one. This 50% deposit bonus and this $100 voucher, but that's not all of it. You can basically claim the deposit bonus up to 2.5k and the generous refund up to 5k. So make sure to come and check this out. This offer is still going to be available for another day here, and you can be claiming it with the link in the description on this update video. And if you haven't claimed it yet, I would suggest so doing now, because then you're still, before it's going to expire, you can still claim it, and then you can use it a little bit later also if you are not seeing any trading opportunity yet. So make sure to come and check it out with the link in the description on this update video. Of course, in no way financial advice. Do your own research, and also where you do want to be trading. But I think it's going to be a nice offer, because like explained in a lot of my update videos, I think you do want to be bullish now on the way down instead of in a big move higher, and this could then be an interesting moment to claim a bonus like this. And also, if you do want more frequent updates on my trading positions and everything I'm seeing in the markets, come over to the VIP Telegram channel, because there I have my own update channel, and there can I be updating in real time about everything I see in the markets. You can join the VIP group here with this other link in the description on this update video. And from there I do want to quickly discuss Ethereum and altcoins. And Ethereum is still trading under the 50 weekly moving average, which is not looking so good. But I think once Ethereum could be reclaiming this level and then bounce ever so slightly back up to the top side, it could be in dead cat bounce, it could be a move higher, but I think the moment of reclaim this 50 weekly moving average is going to be a very important one for Ethereum. Also, I must say that I think Bitcoin analysis is now more important, much more important than the Ethereum analysis, since Bitcoin is now leading the market. If we are going to enter a bigger bear market, of course, Ethereum will also move ever so slightly lower. If Bitcoin is going to see somewhat of a relief rally back to the top side, Ethereum will also see quite a big bounce back up, which could be very good for our trading positions. So that's what I currently think of ETH. And for altcoins, I do have something else, and that is that I'm for altcoins looking at the Fed monetary policy now. I won't be accumulating altcoins until we have more clarity about exactly this, because I think the Federal Reserve monetary policy is by far the most important thing for altcoins now, and I will exactly show you why. You can see it when you overlay this chart with the Fed balance sheet, and then if we look back in history, the last time we saw QT ending was here in 2019. Now QT will be ending at the 1st of December once again. That doesn't necessarily mean that QE is going to get started like we saw in 2019, but it would make a lot of sense that in this upcoming period in 2026, QE is going to get started somewhere. And I think that is going to be the bullish catalyst altcoins do need. Because if we take a look back into history, we can simply see that every single time we are in somewhat of a QT environment, so when there's quantitative tightening, when liquidity is getting drained from the system, that is the moment where altcoins do see the biggest drawdowns, basically, the bear markets. We saw it here. We saw it happening before in 2021 also, here with of course QE getting started, and then here QT was getting started. And since QT has been getting started, and now of course it will be ending, altcoins versus Bitcoin pairs have been bleeding. And that's why I think that the shift to QE is going to be a very important one for altcoins, because we do need more liquidity to see somewhat of a true and sustainable altcoin season. Because for now, during QT, we only see very short periods of altcoins outperformance, and we simply need more liquidity to lengthen a period like this and to see a true altcoin season like we for example saw in 2021. Because it is not like these periods are much shorter than what we saw in 2021. There we also saw a very short altcoin season basically, but the rallies are less sustainable, and in my opinion that is because there is less liquidity available and people don't want to be taking on that much risk. So the Fed monetary policy is for me personally going to be the most important thing for buying new altcoins, taking in new positions. I will be looking at all of this, and that is why I'm also live streaming all of the important data which could be influencing the Fed monetary policy on the channel here. So make sure to subscribe now if you don't want to miss out on all of this important data which could be influencing the path for altcoins basically in the near future. Make sure to come over to the channel. And guys, that was also it for today's update video. If you did enjoy today's update video, if you did learn something from it, make sure to subscribe to the channel, watch and like my latest YouTube videos. Then I will see you guys within my next update video tomorrow.